You're listening to Season 3, Episode 6 of the Indie Film Tribe podcast with me, your host, Angela Matamocha. Welcome! Hi there, good people. Hi. Angela Matamocha here of Indie Film Tribe. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today, I want to discuss real quick about deliverables, QC, and this term you'll often hear, fixing it in post. This will be useful for first-time independent filmmakers and first-time producers, something you should know. So basically, about 2 weeks ago, I had no idea if we were going to pass our second round of QC, right? So we're working with a distributor, and part of the process of getting your film out into the world is a process called deliverables, right? So there are items that you have to deliver to your distributor so they can be armed with all the information to best distribute your film. You know, it's a schedule, and you have to follow the schedule, and there are due dates. So some of these things are like your film's metadata, your music, your script, your artwork. All of these things have to be delivered to your distributor in a timely manner. So once you finally pass the first round, which we did not, everything but picture, the most important thing, picture and sound, we had a few teeny tiny glitches, right? And I knew about them just because the way we put our film together with like string and safety pin and all this. So I knew it, but I knew they were so small that no one would really notice, so much so that I knew it would be passable for most film festivals, to screen at most film festivals, right? So technically, if there are things off, not most people would notice, or most people wouldn't notice, is what I thought. And that was my thinking. So once we started the process of delivering the film, all of our sort of patchwork efforts began to be exposed. And of course, it needs to be, especially if I want to play in the professional filmmaker arena, which I am. However, I can't stop and wonder that technically, maybe if we would have done like proper QC like we had to do for our distributor before I started submitting to film festivals, maybe we could have gotten into, more film festivals or other film festivals. And I'm not saying I'm not thrilled about the festival run we've had. I am. It's been awesome. But a part of me does wonder, like, gosh, was it maybe some technical glitches? Because the thing is, only someone with a trained ear and eye would notice like a millisecond of dropped audio or what have you. Programmers for these festivals and the judges are those trained ears and eyes, right? That is what they do. They've literally watched thousands of films and they know what they're looking for, and they hear these things that normal audience member maybe wouldn't notice. Anyway, my point in sharing this with you today is that if you are a first-time director or a first-time producer and you're on set and you don't catch something, you don't get something because you have to move along because you're only in that space for a limited time, you might hear a crew member say, "Don't worry about it. We got it. Anything that we did, we can fix it in post. Don't worry. You can fix it in post." Worry. You do not want to have to fix it in post if at all possible. If you want distribution for your film, you have to pass QC. And one way to make sure that you do that is before you go into post-production, right? Make sure you record everything you plan to while you are on set. Sound, especially sound. Have multiple takes of important scenes. Here's a challenge, because obviously as an independent filmmaker, all filmmakers really are literally running against the clock, running against dollars, limited funds sometimes. But one way to get around this is to make sure that your producer and your first AD know the important scenes, meaning scenes that the film cannot do without, right? You want to make sure that no matter what, you get the audio, you get the room tone, you have multiple takes. Even if you think you've captured what you need, always do one more take for safety, especially with those important scenes. Important scenes meaning film scenes that establish characters, right? That you can't just, oh, we can do away with that scene. But those important scenes, those establishing scenes, get those right. And kind of know with your team, with your first AD, with your producer, which scenes, if there's a crunch time, can we skip, right? Sometimes that has to happen, unfortunately, but if you don't have the funding to reshoot or pay expensive lab fees in post-production, get those important scenes down, get them down. All right. Do one more take for safety on those crucial scenes. And I know you might have a tired crew member say, don't worry, you can fix it in post. Remember, you are the one that is going to be living with the mistakes. Not the gaffer, not the sound guy, not even your first AD, right? So you want to do whatever you have to do, because I promise you, you do not want to have to do reshoots or pay expensive lab fees to fix it later. You can simply say, like, let's say you're going into overtime and you have to get these scenes, ask your producer to just go to every crew member and just say, hey, can you please like hang out for just one more take? You know, talk to your team, let them know, like, this scene, you guys, we really got to get, I'm sorry, can you stay, please? I say that a lot, please. Anyway, very, very important, because fixing it later is not fun. And again, this advice is really for first-time directors, especially on your first project. And here's why. A lot of times you're going to have people around you, and if you're, a wise first-time director, you're going to have people around you that know more than you. You're going to want a DP that has done way more projects than you, a sound guy. You want to build your team with people that know what the F that they're doing, right? So because of that, you might hear your DP or your sound guy or whomever say, don't worry about it, you'll fix it in post. And the tendency is, or at least it was for me, and I imagine other first-time directors might feel like this, the tendency is to think, you know what, they've done more projects than I have. They probably know what they're talking about. I probably can fix it in post. They're right, you can fix it in post. But if you don't have the budget, and a lot of times on independent projects we simply don't, you can't always fix it in post. Actors aren't always available to do reshoots. Neither is your crew. So just to quickly recap, I'm about to jump off here. Get everything you humanly possibly can get while on set, but especially make a list of those must-have scenes. Yes. All of your scenes are must-have scenes. Of course they are. That's why you wrote them. That's why the script is here. But when you're under the gun and you have to keep it moving, know which scenes that you cannot live without to make your story work. This is crucial because if you have to make a quick decision, you, as the director, you have to know what this film can live without. Worst case scenario, you can't do reshoots. There's no money for, fixing it in a lab after you're finished. So you've got to kind of think worst case scenario. You have to know what you can live without and what scenes must have 100% no mistakes. 100% coverage, 100% extra take for freaking safety. You guys, this is so important. Luckily with us, we didn't do too bad of a job getting everything we needed. And of course, there are scenes in the film that I always think, damn, had I just had, a little bit more time, I would have done blah, 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 fill in the blank, right? There's always going to be those moments. And luckily, because of our brilliant editor, who also is an amazing sound person, we were able to pass freaking QC. Oh my gosh, so nerve-wracking. So anyway, again, I just really want to impinge upon you the importance of making sure you know what you can cut if need be, right? And know what scenes you've got to have. The importance of having the goal to never have to fix it in post, that should be the goal, right? Get it on set. Get it on set. Do everything that is humanly possible to get what you need on set. All right, and with that, good people, we are out. Thank you so much, Indie Film Tribe, for hanging out with me today. Until next time, bye.